Yeah. All right. Hey everyone, welcome to Lead Gen TV. Glad that you could all be here today. This is our second episode of Lead Gen TV. I just pulled a TV show out of my pocket and wanted to be with you here and come live Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11. Sorry about that, bro. I think the 5G takeover, bro, interrupted my interrupted my thing. But yeah, we're coming live Monday, Wednesday, Friday to discuss everything there is to do about lead gen. And today I have a great friend who is very well experienced with leads and also generating leads going outwards, but also an expert coming inwards. And we hung out yesterday, and I'm gonna let him introduce himself as well. So yeah, welcome Keith. Welcome to this live stream.
Thanks for having me. My name is Keith Newman. Glad to be here.
Yeah. So Keith is the founder of .com marketing, and he's been a really trusted advisor for me and a partner of me as we grow leads on demand. And one of the things that I trust him about is marketing, branding, getting attention. And I always ask him for advice here, and he has worked with us in great projects. And wanted to start it off here, Keith. Like, what would you say is like? Why would you define an inbound lead? How do you go?
Define inbound lead. So an inbound lead is definitely a lead that has come into you. Obviously, you have your outbound efforts. Um, Inbound lead, somebody enters through a contact form on your website or sends you a message, sends you an email. You didn't start the correspondence. That's kind of what I would describe as an inbound lead, a lead that's normally a lot more hot, as they say, a little warmer of a lead, because their interest level is probably higher. If they're reaching out to you, then obviously they're trying to get some information right away. So that's what an inbound lead would be defined as, for sure.
All right. What would you say like are a couple kind of key elements of like an inbound lead? What would you say like, or how to get a lead coming into you?
Well, that's a bit of a thick question, I would say. There's definitely a lot of different ways that you can get inbound leads. Common way that people get leads these days, inbound, would most people have probably heard of SEO, search engine optimization. That's a great way to get inbound leads. Um, Another way is through social media management and organic marketing. That's obviously a really
Yeah.
great way to get inbound leads. Any time you're reaching new audience, you have the potential for inbound leads. But yeah, definitely a thick question. There's lots of different ways to get outbound leads. Um, Definitely a massive world to explore out there, but there's
Yeah.
definitely a few principles that are, you know, go across the board when you're dealing with inbound leads.
Yeah, 100%. So like I know last class that we covered here on LinkedIn Live. This is episode 2, and the first episode is we defined, hey, what is a lead? So we're starting from this basic ground level of, hey, what is a lead? Now we're moving into the different types of leads and how to get leads.
Hmm.
Um, and if we talk about, like, let's say on LinkedIn, and let's think of business owners and salespeople who hang out on LinkedIn. Some of them have so many different businesses, from being a real estate agent to being a startup, a tech founder, or being a financial advisors who we work with a lot.
Hmm.
What would you say is a great game plan if you're, let's say you're starting out and you just want to get started, get generating leads for yourself, and maybe like, let's say a budget is tight for you. What would you suggest?
I would say that inbound lead systems are just that. They're systems. They're normally um,
Yeah.
pretty, they take the labor intensive, you could say. So to get inbound leads effectively, depending on the nature of the business, we're talking about, B2B here potentially, higher ticket sales scenarios. In
Yeah.
those places, you're probably going to want to focus on social media.
Mm.
Um, it won't be pure inbound in a sense. I would suggest going out there and kind of engaging. Um, some warm outbound is kind of a great strategy when you're not on a budget. But in terms of inbound, there are ways that you can, start to, wire your infrastructures that you have to start getting inbound leads. On page SEO can you get you started if your keywords aren't too, saturated, depending on the competitive levels there. Other kinds of, there's lots of different ways. So um, bringing traffic to your website and having those forms set up, however that looks like, whether you just have a social media channel or your profiles, if that's how you're generating most of your sales, just getting people to start conversations with you. So that really just boils down to exposure. So if you're on a budget and you need exposure, you know, just putting yourself out there in groups, asking questions, answering questions. These are great ways to start generating conversations. Um, and one great thing about having conversations online, especially in Facebook groups or whatever, you make a post in there, you start generating attention, and then people see that as well. So maybe they don't necessarily ask and you just talk to them directly, but they see your conversations that you have, and then maybe they reach out from there. So in a larger scale, this is the role of, some bigger businesses actually have, you know community managers. So even if they're B2C business, they still have, people who are kind of in those grassroots roles. But at the end of the day, inbound leads is definitely something that you should be building over the long run. um, they might not come flooding right in the beginning, but if you can get those systems
Mm.
built so that you're generating inbound leads, they're obviously going to be way more cost effective than
Yeah.
paying a ton for other types of leads.
So true. Yeah, so true. One advice that I would give to like someone who wants to start getting inbound leads today is, yeah, like, social media. That's a great place for me to start getting social media leads without paying for ads. It's all organic. You're gonna need like a Facebook account or a LinkedIn account. Facebook is good for generating like some sort of traffic, and I want to show you an example, and maybe we could critique this um, together, Keith, and show me tell me what you think. I'm going to share with So what do you like? Let's say this one. I've seen a lot of these different types of posts as well. Let me see if I can make this bigger. No, but this is a good one from a group that I'm in. I follow this guy. He's actually someone I know, and
Hmm.
so this is an example of one.
Sure. You want me to break it down for a little bit for you?
Sure.
Sure. So, based on group you're in, right? First thing, it's headline, right? So if you guys are just getting started and making content, or you're a veteran, obviously, first thing you ought to be focusing on is the headline, the catch, the hook.
Yeah.
If you can get people hooked on here, that's the key. Now, obviously, one thing that comes up a lot is that Facebook, people say it's hit and miss. Some people don't get great results. Now, I can already tell you one thing, that first of all, he's the admin in the group, so he's getting a big boost. Okay, so these are some organic inbound strategies here, and essentially, he's getting a big boost. And the reason why it's hit or miss is because he's already making content. He's the admin of the group, so he's
Yeah.
going to get high engagement on this. So what someone like yourself can think about is like, okay, either you can make your own group and start to build it from scratch, right? You can use your profile without the group, obviously, but you still have to build that friend base, right? So it's you're still reaching out to new people. Whereas if you are, say, we'll talk about it in the next one in another example here, but in this example, if you're finding that you're making posts like this and you're not getting engagement, you're not getting 55 comments, people saying #swipe, it's
Yeah,
because
you have a bunch
he's
of these.
already posting, he's already generating an audience, right? So
Yeah,
this
he already has authority as well. He like in the group,
exactly.
he's like an authority person,
Yeah,
expert.
yeah. So this is definitely not an audience building post. This
Yeah.
is like a call to action. So what you guys want to focus on, if you're still trying to make your first couple sales, you're still trying to create those initial systems that generate organic leads for you. You want to focus on building an audience. That's really the key, is it organic or paid, whether you figure out whether these leads are outbound, inbound, you got to figure out what
Yeah.
are the systems that are replicatable on a month-to-month basis. What are your baseline numbers, right? That way, so when you're getting in these leads, you can figure out how much they're worth to you, and essentially how much you can spend to actualize those leads. So, that
Cost
really
per lead,
is,
yeah, cost per
yeah.
cost per click.
But
Things like that.
even inbound leads can sometimes cost to fulfill, cost times for paying salespeople or commission, whatever that looks like. There's a process there, so you have to figure out some of the numbers. If you're still trying to get your first sale, then you can't look at what's yet to be figured out. You got to look at
Yeah.
what starts the numbers, because before you get a sale, right, you have to get traffic, you have to have people looking at it. So you got to figure out, how am I going to get people to look at what it is that you have to offer, right? So
It all comes down to, man, getting attention, man. You gotta get some sort of attention, get known. But obviously, I know there's a more strategic way. I've learned. I'll take responsibility that, like, it's a balance of blasting out there, but also being strategic in what's being said.
mhm.
Because sometimes I could put like a bunch of like controversial stuff, but at the same time, it's like maybe not even appealing to my audience. So it's basically posting what I want versus what I know is best for
Mhm.
people. You know what
Well,
I
at the end
mean?
of the day, that's essentially how platforms work. Um, when we look at engagements, whether it's negative or positive, having people just be neutral and scroll by consistently, that is what kills what kills your content in the algorithm. So going back to inbound leads, and kind of going back to those post examples, if you're still, before you post stuff more like that, that's like a call to action, that would definitely generate your inbound leads for you, right? But before you can activate those leads or entice them to actually send that swipe comment or send you a message or whatever that looks like, those very first interactions, where those can come from, we're talking organic, look across the social media platforms, outside of the website, like we've talked about SEO, we've looked at Facebook and LinkedIn with those groups, obviously outbound friend requests in a sense, going in groups wherever, finding people who are like-minded or, just helping solve their questions or whatever, engaging in groups.
Yeah.
But There's also places like YouTube, which is more system based. Even Twitter. Wherever your niche industry is engaging the most, you can essentially meet them there. Um, and even people underestimate what can happen from even just 100 followers. So whatever platform you may have that on, whether it's 100 subscribers, 100 followers, 100 Facebook subscribers, whatever that is, whatever that looks like for you, it's something that you can build on, and there's people who are essentially generating enough leads to run their whole business with less than 1,000 followers. So to think you guys need to like be super social media savvy, it's really more about figuring out the questions that people have within to ask your business, right? Like, what do your customer questions? What are they? And then if you can present content, whether it's just video like this, straight up answering those questions, or if it's just photo content, whatever that is, there is a more direct marketing advertising approach that you can take where, if you work on and find those places where you're finding the people who are the right match, even the most rudimentary posting can get you some results. So that's why you can't let yourself get stuck, discouraged. There's ways that you can work hard to build, for example, build outbound lead systems for yourself that you can start to build business with. Or if you're in the middle of, you're trying to boost your business, you can, boost that with some paid marketing, with some, adding some outbound lead strategies. But ultimately, the things that will grow your business the most over time is building systems that will generate you more inbound leads, right? So there's no one true strategy, but there is systems that you can build that will generate you leads from different places. And as soon as you start building different assets within your company, right? When your business owns a website with a blog on it that makes 50K monthly traffic, you have a valuable asset right there, right? You get inbound leads, right? So if you can build those assets, right? Use your team, whatever resources you have to construct these assets, you're going to win in the long term.
Build assets. Thanks again for your time today, Keith. If any of you want any information on how inbound leads work, go ahead and contact Keith. He's with .com Marketing. I think we'll put his link somewhere down below in the chat. I'm very grateful to have you on today, Keith. On Friday, we will be going live at 11 a.m. as well, Mountain. Looking forward to having you there. Next, on Friday, we're going to be covering outbound leads. So that's where I'm gonna go dig deep.
Awesome, man. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, brother. Hope you all have a good day.
Thanks for having me.
Go ahead and follow Keith, and all the best. See ya.
Cheers. Take care.
See you, bro.